Hello, friends, and welcome to Trust Me. Welcome back if you've been around for a while. If you're new, Alexis and I are a real-life couple. We talk about monogamy and the issues that we have gone through, and we are currently either trying to work through or we think that we've kind of solved and moved past in an effort to create a community around people that want to get better together. This month's episode is called How Do You Do Everything Perfectly? Short answer is you really can't, and we talked about that in this episode this month because we have so much going on in our lives and there has been a lot of new stresses introduced into our life for better or for worse. This is a very candid conversation, a very candid episode. Alexis typically does a lot of research and takes the reins, and she kind of leads the conversation. Well, she is so busy making all the money for our family and painting our house to sell our home, to move into our new home, and literally taking on everything that she relinquished control over to me and let me kind of guide our conversation. So I would like to look at this episode as more of an interview, a soon-to-be husband checking in with his beautiful fiance and asking her questions, asking her what she thinks we are doing well, what areas we can improve on, and asking her how she thinks we can go about continuing to do well at the things we're doing well at, and how do we go about implementing some sort of action into the areas where we think we're lacking. If you're a fan or if you're new and you like what we're doing, it would be awesome if you left a review on iTunes if you're listening to this, and if you're watching on YouTube, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe if you have not, and comment down below. We would love to build this community to a point where we could do these podcasts more than once a month, but to do that, this has to make sense for us financially. We're willing to do the work. We're going to keep doing the work. We're going to keep releasing the podcast once a month until we can grow to a point where we can do more episodes. So in the interim, a little bit of support from you is free, and it honestly goes a very long way to help us. Sit back and please enjoy a conversation with Alexis and I, and I'll see you again next month. Love you guys. I have no idea if I'm in focus or not, but that's okay.
Yep, you are.
You don't know.
Yeah, you look very pretty.
You look really pretty.
I know.
Did you put the bow on there to try to
Soften my mood?
That's what I was going to say, is soften your mood.
It's already soft enough.
That's a subjective thing to say.
Hey guys, welcome to Trust Me.
We don't have to do an intro. We do the intro before we actually film now.
I was saying hi.
Oh, hi.
To everyone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Always.
Alexis's mood does not ever need to be softened. I would like to say that on record. You are like a very intricate, complicated, Michelin-rated dish. Right? Every ingredient in there has to be perfect, and it's been perfected over the years.
Yeah.
Refined down to the most scrumptious, delicious treat that anyone has ever had.
This is weird. I feel like this is weird.
This is weird. This is what happens when we decide to do everything at once. I'm
really sorry. I apologize in advance for this episode because I am not actually going to be facilitating this episode. John is going to be. And honestly, these episodes give me so much anxiety.
Well,
when I'm not in charge. And I know that's a problem. That's a control thing.
Yeah. Let's start by bringing the value to our loyal listeners. Thank you for watching and listening. We have an episode. It's one of our most popular episodes where we talked about saying sorry and how to apologize appropriately. So I think you should demonstrate for the class, if you will, the proper way to apologize.
What, right now?
Yeah.
What am I saying sorry for?
For me being in charge of this episode.
I haven't done anything wrong. Oh, I'm saying sorry to the audience?
Yeah.
I acknowledge that having John in charge of an episode is probably frustrating for not only me, but maybe the listeners as well. I forget the rest of the proper apology model.
You make like a promise.
Well, no, and then I have to say, and that was a boundary that I crossed because I said we would never have John facilitate an episode again. And here we are again with John in charge. I am sorry and I apologize, audience, for the lack of research and tangents that you're about to be taken upon. In the future, I promise to never allow John to run an episode again. Please forgive me.
That was pretty good.
I can't remember. That's a shame.
If you're listening still,
I gotta look that. We should commit that to memory.
And you're a Trust Me fan. What should we call our Trust Me people? Our Trust Me pack? If you're part of the Wolf Pack.
Don't do that.
If you're a part of the Trust Me crew, the Monogamy is Hard bunch.
We all are. Part of that crew. I would love to
let Alexis know in the comments how she did on her apology. Go ahead and give her a rating on a scale from 1 to 10, but nothing lower than a 9. I think you did a great job.
Nothing lower than 9.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. You're right about the lack of research. I tried to research, and then I got so distracted by everything. It's so hard.
To stay focused? It is hard for you. I know.
That's not necessarily true. The reason I'm in charge of this episode, the only reason Alexis would ever relinquish control of anything that she's going to put her name on and seal of approval on is if there is absolutely no other option, or if I beg to do so for a long time and then she decides to let me. But that is not what's going on right now.
That is much exaggerated.
What's going on right now?
Is your mic on?
Yeah, it's on. What's going on right now is we're moving in addition to, every calamity in our life. Would you like to just kind of give a quick... I
burped in the microphone. That's so gross. I'm so sorry.
That's going to go on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Would you like to, while I fix this microphone, explain what's going on in our life, kind of in your own words?
It's like the opposite of last year at this time when we had nothing going on, but it was really scary. Right now it feels like everything is happening at once. We had a ceiling collapse in the middle of the night in our house. You distract me so much when you do that.
Sorry.
It's okay. Am I talking to the camera or am I talking to you who's paying attention to the camera?
Yeah, I'm operating cameras too, and there was a sound. I heard.
Do we want to pause and check the camera situation?
No, they're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
So you wanted me to say what's going on, right?
Yeah. So the opposite of last
lots
year.
of things are happening in our life, right? We had the ceiling collapse.
Mm-hmm.
We, I can't even.
The ceiling collapse.
We, we decided to build a house, so we're moving. And we're putting our house on the market in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we've just almost finished fixing the room where we had no ceiling. That room's almost done. We're then getting our house ready to put on the market. We're building a home. We're renovating my entire office at work and getting a new medical charting system next week as well. And for me, we also have some personal things going on that we're not going to get into, within our family. But we're not going to go into detail there.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
And that's emotional stress. Mm-hmm. And that is probably really the hardest thing, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this lots of layers and things happening. And I feel very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
When I start to feel this way, I have tics or things that start to present in my body, and it's my shoulders start to hurt really badly because I carry my stress there. But so much pain in this trap this time that I feel nauseous throughout the day. And I also don't ever have my nails done when I'm highly stressed, and they're not done. I also start to get a bald spot on the right side of my head, which is also happening. Women can go bald too. So these are all signs of Alexis is highly stressed.
Yes.
And these probably present in other people too. But it's just bad right now. But I'm trying to be positive. Mm-hmm. And I would love to research and understand more if there really is such a thing as positive stress. Because a lot of this stuff is cool. It's going to be great. We move to an area where both the kids are in the same school district, and we're going to have a new house where things don't break, and hopefully they'll probably break, but not for like 10 years, you know? And then we get to sell our house in a seller's market. Like, that's really cool too. The new system at work is going to be way smoother for us. And like, I'll be able to chart as I'm like walking people out. That's awesome. But it's so much at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always resistance to change, even if it's good.
Yeah. It's not even.
You're not resisting it.
I'm not resisting. I'm flowing with it. Like, I haven't put up a single about any of this, not at work, not here, you know, but it's like, I feel so overwhelmed that I feel almost like I'm getting like tunnel vision or something at times. And I think that's anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I forget, it's so weird when you get this stressed, all the things you've learned about self-care, when you really need them more than ever, tend to like go away somehow.
Yeah.
And so I've like found myself not going for like days without meditating. I've skipped my workouts, like, because we're so busy and juggling so much. I'm probably drinking more wine. I'm eating whatever is available. And it's like this is a time when you need those tactics more than ever. It's just so funny that,
yeah,
you know,
I agree with you
about
that you need self-care, and it's important to prioritize self-care. Mm-hmm. I do think that the work that you put in all the time, the reason you have amazing abs, the reason that I've watched you personally grow and develop as much as you have, seriously.
Thank you.
Is because of the work you're putting in, and it's like having a savings account. No one likes to spend their money on stupid shit when something breaks, but things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong, and that's why when things are going well, instead of blowing all your money, you invest it or you put it into a savings account.
So you think that because I've done good self-care when things have been smoother, that I can just pull from that now and glide on it? How long do you think that works for? Just depends on how much I have in my savings.
I don't want to experiment and see. Yeah, it depends on how much you have in savings.
How many nights can I drink wine, not work out, and eat whatever the kids want?
Do you guys want McDonald's? Yes. Okay. You know, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer for any kind of self-care or self-help. I do think that it is true what I was saying about investing into your wellness. And I don't think you should be so hard on yourself about missing workouts and stress because of stress-inducing situations. As you're saying, physiologically, you are having symptoms from the stress.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So working out, trying to run a fast 5K or trying to do a new yoga pose when you have a tighter body isn't going to work. Mm-hmm. So there's a level of awareness that comes into your physical routine.
Yeah, I've actually been trying to like walk.
Yeah.
Instead, and like doing Pilates instead of like a super hard hot like ISO or hot buns class or something, because it's gentler. And that's a good. I thank you for saying that, because I was actually kind of thinking that intuitively in my mind. Like, I shouldn't go hard right now.
Yeah. Because
I feel so tense and so off.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you. I am kind of paraphrasing from something. I heard Nick Bare, the guy who does Ironmans and runs the supplement company, this shirtless man that I watch all the time. You
watch several. Which one?
Nick Bare. He has
several shirtless men.
I'm not going to give that statement any more context. You at home can just take that information and do with it what you will. If the angry man from the Dad's Facebook is watching, you're right. I'm insecure because of my closeted homosexuality.
He didn't say you were closeted homosexual.
No, that guy was a...
I very rarely call someone about your sexuality.
Right. I'm not open. I'm not like... I don't go both ways unless I've been in a place in my life where I needed, to have a place to stay. Like, right, ladies? Like, guys know that trick too. No, Nick Bare has
anything for a price.
A nutrition and a supplement line, and he documents his training. I think I've shown you some of the stuff. But he was talking about he hurt himself and he couldn't put in some hours for this Ironman he's doing. But it doesn't mean all the work he did is going to go away. He just, for like a week and a half, had to like be more mindful about rehabilitating his ankle.
Yeah. So I was learning over Christmas break something about, I mean, depending on how long you have been becoming fit, but you can go a few months, honestly, without really losing like muscle and
well, rest endurance. Is actually an integral part of training. And
so that's why I'm resting right now.
Yeah, or you can look at it, so it's not intentional rest, and you're talking about stress, so we shouldn't like dismiss the fact that sometimes things suck, and we've had some things that have sucked lately happen. And we've also had a lot of amazing things all happen at once.
Yeah, we're healthy.
Yeah.
We have jobs. I mean, I have a job.
Yeah.
You have a business that's doing well.
Yeah.
Starting to really do well.
Thank you. It's a small window of doing well. Like if what I did in the last 10 days was always how things were, we would have to hire a maid or something or
a housekeeper.
Dear Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if maid is like, I don't know. I don't like that word.
Yeah. I don't
know why. Yeah.
I don't have any kind of cultural experience with saying maid and someone saying you shouldn't say that. And I've not been on any Twitter threads where if you're listening to this and you're angry online often, you probably know the answer to this question better than I do. I'm willing to acquiesce and omit maid from my vocabulary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's offensive.
Yeah.
But something about it feels wrong or off to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, overly, concerned about certain words and semantics and, being too PC or whatever. But maid just feels like there's like a gender affiliated with it.
Yeah.
And that's so presumptuous.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe not. You can be a maid, just like, it's just in my mind I've associated women with being housekeepers. So maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
It is interesting, which kind of honestly leads me into my first point. There was a little bit of structure for this conversation.
Ooh.
Yeah, I structured the way I wanted to ask things.
Wow, I see you have notes there.
Points. Yeah, I've got almost 2 pages of notes.
Can you read them?
I will. Really quickly.
No, I mean your handwriting.
Oh, no, I can't. I'm just hoping that I kind of remember when I made this particular scribble pattern. We were going on a tangent, which is part of the theme of this episode. But I wanted to just kind of end cap what we were just talking about with the point that you aren't necessarily taking a mental break. You're not taking an intentional rest period. I would say the analogy is more like we rolled our ankle. Our brains are and we need to be easy and gentle with ourselves. And when we're why does it hurt? Same as if you hurt your ankle and you go to run out the door, you're like, ow, that's pain. And there's this cognitive dissonance with brain injury versus actual physical injury. Your brain can get hurt the same way your ankle can get hurt, but we don't oftentimes, I think most people don't say, okay, I must have some kind of emotional damage or some the equivalent of a rolled ankle, but in my brain and in my psyche, and I need to tend to that and be easy and gentle with myself. So I think we should keep that in mind as we're going forward. If we feel like wildcatting or drinking too much Jameson, that's me, we need to say, why is that? Oh, it's because I rolled my ankle, but in my brain.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be careful, with then it can be a slippery slope, but I rolled my ankle, and so I'm gonna wild out. And
you shouldn't use it to perpetuate bad habits. You should use it to prevent bad habits from growing exponentially.
Yeah, and taking hold.
Yeah, because I hear your point. It's very easy to be in a place where you're okay, well, I deserve this thing, and you don't deserve anything.
Or you feel so stressed. For me, sometimes where it's fuck it, I'm gonna have a glass of wine during the week, or what, whatever, eat whatever, worse, whatever. And it actually ends up making you feel worse.
Yeah.
When it's really a great time to be eating really well and exercising and stuff and not drinking.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful because otherwise I'll just fall into it. But I always pull myself out.
You're much better about that.
Big deal, yeah.
You're way better at that than I am. I fall victim to, and I wish I could remember this syndrome, but it's like the perpetuation of failure, where for me, I'd be like, well, I ate a bunch of pizza. I ate like 4,000 calories yesterday. I'm so fucked. I might as well continue fucking myself for the next 3 months until I do something extreme, like hire a group of holistic life coaches or run a marathon or do whatever. And then, I'm like way back and forth, and you're kind of like straight and narrow and brilliant, basically.
I don't know about that.
And adorable.
Thanks.
So we were talking about hiring a housekeeper. We're not literally talking about hiring a housekeeper this moment, but we've talked about that being a possibility. And to me, that seems very ridiculous. I grew up very blue collar, very low class, right?
Not low class. You can just say blue collar.
Lower economic class. Not that like I lacked class because I didn't have money. That's a fucked up thing. And I understand why you thought that that's what I was implying, because a lot of people imply that. And I don't necessarily agree with when I heard Tucker Max, the guy that wrote I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell, who was becoming like a woke dude. And he was talking with Michaela Peterson, and he was talking about his wife and her businesses and their kids and his stuff. And he was saying to his wife, poor people think that they have to do everything. And it hurt me at the core.
It's such a pretentious statement.
I agree with that.
Fuck that guy.
But I also, from having a business, from doing this, from being very busy and understanding that if I kept being this busy with my business, if you kept working and we kept having all this stuff happen in our life, and I know that time is the most valuable thing to me and to you, and that's we're prioritizing our time more, it would only make sense to like hand off some of our responsibilities to somebody and exchange money to them.
Yeah. If you are like literally consistently busy and you are helping with like paying bills and like all that stuff, and like we're both like financially contributing, and then we're like, who knows, maybe we'll be able to like invest in like a business, and like yes, hiring people that can like, you know, help and would be awesome and would make sense, right? Yeah. But you have to be at a point where it actually makes sense.
100%. So I see you a lot of times think that you have to do everything, and
I don't feel that way.
No,
I mean, I rely on you to like clean the house, but oftentimes I still clean it because it's not like as clean as I would like it to be, if that's what you mean.
I'm thinking more like we're talking about fixing a few things here and there in the house, and I've heard you sometimes say, I wish we knew how to do this, or we should know how to do this. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're not even consciously aware of it, but I fall into the stereotype of like a typical male stereotype, like I want to fix all of your problems, and instead of just listening to you vent, sometimes I want to like offer solutions. Mm-hmm. But when I hear you being stressed and talking about all these things you need to do, one of the solutions I come up with is like outsourcing these things. And I kind of see in you a thing that I think is common amongst women in particular. They think that they have to do everything. They have to be an amazing parent, an amazing employee.
Because we have had to do everything.
Yeah.
Women have had to carry a lot of weight that's kind of behind the scenes for like a long time. It's probably just like in my DNA.
Yeah.
I see details maybe that you don't, or I maybe foresee what will happen before you do type thing.
Yeah.
I'm constantly thinking and probably worrying, maybe too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it keeps me like 3 steps ahead. I like to be, that's where I like to be. Yeah. But I see what you're saying. I mean, we can, when it makes sense financially, like I would love to have someone coming in and cleaning our house. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. But it's not necessary right now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but you should be open to it. And I'm not really necessarily sweet bunny, Alexis. I'm not critiquing or tearing you apart. I'm just taking things I've heard other places in the world, things I've seen happen in our life, generalizations about society, and I'm applying it to our life in the context of this very contemporary situation to provide some kind of insight to anybody that may be listening to this. Mm-hmm. I've seen you and I've seen other people, and I know I've become stressed before too because I think I have to do everything. Like when I was at home, I'm still at home, but it was a period mostly where I'm not making any money, and it's like, well, I'm trying to do that, but I'm also trying to juggle everything else. I honestly didn't realize how much work it took to be a stay-at-home parent, to be a stay-at-home dad, until the last few weeks. I'm like, oh God, there's a lot.
And our kids are like self-sufficient too.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, almost entirely. They're not entirely. That's why.
Yeah, you have to drive them, right? It's the driving around
and the feeding them because they would literally just eat Oreos.
Well, that's why we're building a house, because we're gonna have a microwave for once in our lives.
Yeah.
And the kids couldn't be more excited about it, so they can make their own mac and cheese.
Yeah, dude. $300 and some $1,000 for a house.
What else were they saying?
The only thing they care about is a microwave.
We need to talk about how much.
Yeah, it's just funny. It could be $1 million house, and if it were they'd have a microwave in it, we could show them a picture of a mansion and say we're moving here. And because I've been so staunch about not having a microwave, I think one of the first things they would say is, "Does it have a microwave?" No, I'm out.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So, I think this has been very stressful, and this is kind of in line with thinking you have to do everything. I think one thing that we've been doing more, and I think other people could benefit from, is when you're in a domestic partnership and you have a lot of shit to do. It doesn't matter who does it, but you need to know who's doing it. So like a role assigning roles. How do you think we are doing at assigning roles? Do you think we have like a clear cut?
Yes, I think that I thought you were doing the outside of the home this weekend, for example, but that wasn't on the calendar, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I think one way we could do better is to have a calendar that we both have access to.
Yeah.
Like the family calendar.
Yeah.
Or something that's like in a location that's not like your desk or whatever, or your planner. Because I thought for sure this weekend you were power washing and doing that stuff on the outside, and I was painting the office and packing up my clothes, which I didn't get to my clothes.
Yeah.
But I think we're doing okay. I think that as long as I trust that you'll get it done, because sometimes you wait a little bit more to the last minute than I do. Like you have would you admit that you are a procrastinator?
I have a natural inclination to procrastinate, but I'm also like I'll jump in and do something and then like work insanely hard. And I go through periods where it's the extremity kind of thing. And the way I've been able to combat that is by having a calendar. Like you just said, we have a calendar where everything's written down. Mm-hmm. I would have driven myself crazy trying to figure out how to get pressure washing done this weekend. Mm-hmm. But I knew I wasn't going to, and I didn't put it down on this weekend because once I signed a contract with 2 clients, I was like, oh God, this is going to be a lot, and I know I can't do it this weekend. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to get all my work done for Monday, and I'm pretty sure it's done unless there's another round of revisions that come in. And then pressure washing will just happen one morning when I take the kids to school. I'm going to go to Lowe's and rip that fucking thing off.
Yeah, so I think it's good. I think it's good that we delegate tasks and we have like the schedule, but then also in my mind, when that doesn't happen and then we have to like adjust to the schedule, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's almost like better if we like just said, I don't know.
Yeah. Or we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think we're working on, we're really working on communication, you and I. Mm-hmm. And this is part of communication.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, and we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? So like this is honestly probably a really good way to practice getting better at communication. So like we are delegating to one another and like whatever, and then we're trusting and we're clearly stating expectations and like the other person's stating what they can and can't do or whatever.
And so us moving, I might get micro and macro confused, but you'll understand the context if you're listening. in the micro, like us moving, there's these tasks of you're doing the pressure washing, you're cleaning the walls, you're doing the shelves. But in the macro, we know that if one of us cooks, the other one cleans the dishes or the kitchen or whatever.
Yeah. That's a pretty, like, that's a steady, like, task that we've gotten down.
Yeah. Watering plants, cleaning, laundry. A majority of that is on me.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily technically have that assigned, but it's kind of developed naturally over time. And I think we could do ourselves a lot of good, and other people could, by like having that talk. How often do you think you and I should have the macro discussion of who is the one that's cooking during the week? Who is the one that's doing the laundry? Like, how often do you think it's necessary to touch base on that?
Maybe like monthly.
Yeah.
But I feel like we do this where we say we're going to talk about it and we're going to have this meeting here and we're going to do this there and write it down there. But then it's like sometimes still doesn't even happen.
We have been. And you know what the difference is? Seriously, what I think the difference is? Having that big calendar. And for me personally, the digital calendar does not work. I don't know why. I ignore things on my phone. It's very easy.
If I write on your calendar, budget discussion, will you actually stick to having the conversation?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, because I feel like that's the one thing that we've said we're going to do.
Finances are hard to talk about. Right?
Yeah, you don't like talking about it. And I had a client actually that like really put this into perspective. It helped me at least. That she was noticing in her daughter's boyfriend, who didn't grow up necessarily like with a lot, you know, kind of like you and I, that money made him uncomfortable, and talking about money made him feel bad because he always associated negativity with money, being in debt, owing money, not having enough money, you know, feeling afraid that you don't have enough money. Shifting the conversation to thinking about like kind of planning and preparing and being preventative, you know, in terms of money, and thinking this can be a positive conversation. Like no one's in trouble. We're just trying to like be better prepared and be smart people.
I agree with you.
And so it's something about like how, you know, I think we've associated and correlated maybe negativity with money or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we both have that.
I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic, like in my later in my life, like in my middle age or whatever, and like achieving things and like so like you can start to maybe shift your focus on that, and we can try. Yeah. You know.
I feel like we're there together. I think we're like kindred spirits. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Fun fact, if you know about Alexis and I, like Alexis, Josephine, John Joseph, right? December 29th is my birthday. January 29th is hers.
Yeah.
We lived down the street from each other when we were like 3 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, and 5 maybe. 3, 5.
In Yorktown, Indiana.
Yeah.
And then we lived down the street from each other when I was at my dad's and you were with.
I was like 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. 29. Yeah.
And we grew up in very similar manners. 3 children, the eldest of each, divorced family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very blue collar. We've already touched base on that. Money in my house was like hard to talk about. There was definitely a lot of negativity wrapped around it.
Really?
I think when we go into those talks, it's tense. Probably, I think from both of us. I also know that I personally struggle a lot with wanting to sit to talk to you because I'm like, what kind of man is going to sit and tell his woman that is fucking crushing it how to spend her goddamn money?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be like that kind of conversation, because I wouldn't
Alexis,
listen to you if you were telling me how to spend it. But we can have the conversation about like what you think.
Yeah. And for the record, you've never done anything that would make me think that that's true. It's just a story that I tell.
Yeah, that I would think what was true.
The narrative I was just giving you, like the personal narrative of me talking about who am I to tell you what to do with your stuff. Like you've never
tried to tell me what to do with my stuff either.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. There's been some social indications that people are like, well, you should just do your own thing and be independent, and that's not your fault. And it's weird. It's weird to navigate in a society where I want to see you do super well and be super independent as a strong, amazing woman, but we're also monogamous.
Yeah,
so you're not an independent woman. So there's been people cheering
I can be financially independent.
Yeah.
Like, women, I know a lot of people in relationships who maintain their financial independence, but you also pool your resources, to do things together, whether it's like invest in a home or go on trips or whatever, Right. I don't know. That's a conversation that maybe we can have on a Trust Me episode later. Yeah. Just finances.
For sure. Let's wait until I make a little bit more money to talk about that. Okay. Hey, we're not going to go into all the details, but the last time we went to have a budgeting conversation, we started drinking before we did it. It was like one of the first times we'd done it in a long time, in addition to literally everything else going on in our life. And then you also said, hey, surprise, that other thing I've been wanting to talk about, we're going to talk about that first. And I was like, no. So there's that. Hey, side note, this chair is so low to the fucking ground because it's Malachi's gaming chair and I set up everything very quickly. So I'm sitting super low to the ground. But finances are personally very difficult to talk about. So if you're like, yeah, guys, of course it's going to be hard. I want to say that I'm proud of you and I for at least attempting to have the conversation. And we are kind of running our family like a little mini business more. We're becoming more of a fine-tuned machine. Mm-hmm. And amidst all this craziness, if you would have asked me a year ago and said, this is what's going on at this time of the year, what do you think Alexis is going to be like? I had no expectations, but you are exceeding any expectation that I could have had of you. You were fucking stepping up and you're being so fucking strong. And you've always been strong. You've just been getting stronger. What's up? What's wrong?
I just don't feel very strong right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can tell you as an observer, you are fucking so
I feel
strong.
like every day I wake up and how I look at the day is I'm grateful, but I'm ready to fight.
Yeah. That is terrifying.
But then some days I'm I don't want to do it today.
Yeah.
It's I just want to break, man.
Yeah, I feel that. I think about a break.
It's okay. I don't want to complain, but I definitely do need a break, and we are going to find a way to take a trip.
We're gonna put it on the calendar too. We're gonna do it short term, like the goal is gonna be in the short term, like in 6 months or 3 months or whatever, even if it's a couple of days.
I want a week.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
A week would be amazing. I want a month, but a week is probably possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, with kids and vacation and holidays and the timing that we're looking at. Mm-hmm. I think we should do 3 days and then a week, maybe. Mm-hmm. But this is a thing I learned from the 4-hour work week, and the calendar has been kind of a thing that has been instrumental in me getting more work done and more projects done. The only reason we're doing Trust Me, even though Alexis and I had to force her. You said not to say force, because force sounds bad. I had to very strongly suggest.
There was no forcing anyhow. I don't like using that word because it's not accurate.
I made her do this episode.
It was strongly encouraged. Yeah. Basically, I did it. I love doing Trust Me. I love it. I love the research and just learning about relationships and it's really hard to cohabit and be in a relationship for a long time with someone. But it's also amazing, right? And this is literally love or whatever relationships. It's been a topic since humans have had been humanized or whatever.
Yeah.
And even before then, right? So it's it's very fascinating. It's age old. And sex is very fascinating.
It is.
And amazing.
It is.
But
we committed
we committed to doing this. And I feel very overwhelmed, and I haven't had a day off in a long time. And but yeah, here we are. So John strongly encouraged this episode.
Yeah. And the takeaway, I'm thinking a lot about you all that are listening or watching. The takeaway from this, in my opinion, is that committing builds confidence and builds structure. And when you have structure, you have security, right?
Yeah, and I do agree with you. And committing also encourages trust within yourself.
Yeah.
When you say you're going to do something, it's like, be impeccable with your word, right? It's one of the 4 agreements that I revisited today.
Awesome. I like that.
So yeah, be impeccable with your word. And you literally, if you don't do what you say, you start to just kind of crumble inside. You know, like not in like a woe is like catastrophe sort of way, but it's like you won't trust yourself, and then you're not going to trust other people, and people won't trust you.
Yeah. Trust is obviously important, hence the name of the podcast.
Right. Yeah, it's like everything.
And the way we committed to this podcast is we sat and we talked, and we're like, holy fuck, we can't do every week. What does that look like? And then we were like every 2 weeks, and we went back and forth.
You kind of fought that.
I fought that.
Yeah, you wanted to do weekly very badly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm proud of myself for saying like, no, I actually can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we settled on once a month.
Yeah.
And we wrote down on the big calendar at the beginning of the year, the last Monday of every month is going to be when these episodes come out. And writing things down and having that kind of structure is very new to me. And you can do that in your life. Like we've been doing that with our talks we've been having. We've been writing down on the calendar. With our date night, we've been doing that, picking a Saturday weeks ahead. So it's like, honestly, at any point in time, we could be going through a day where we're having some kind of like strife, some kind of like stress, some kind of like resistance to something going on. It doesn't even have to be like interpersonal. It can be like something that's external. And I can say to you, hey, at least we have date night 2 weeks from now. And it seems so simple, but it's one of those things that you don't completely understand the magic of the simple thing until you put it into practice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's working, us writing things down and like having the dates and?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I also know that in life, anything that is good and true and real often is a result of like baby steps and like consistency. So like if we're like continuing to like actually utilize like a planner, let's say.
Yeah.
It's just going to get better.
Right. I think Bill Gates said this, but most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and then they also underestimate what they can get done in a decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. I love you so much.
I love you.
I said recently, you were only given what you can handle, and Alexis did not like that at all. And I think...
Hang in there.
Yeah. Well, it is cheesy and cheeky.
No, it was... I forget what mood I was in. It's probably the same one I'm in right now when you said that to me. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's just a crazy thing to think about. You're only given what you can handle because, like, that's such a first world thing, I feel like, too. And, like, a privileged kind of, like, you know...
I think inspirational quotes are a very first world thing, right? Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Like, the implications are, universal, but the having the quote, like, on your lock screen on your phone, you're like, today's your day. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Someone in India that lives in a hut next to a train isn't, like, on their lock screen every day. Maybe they are. I don't know. Let me know. If you're listening in India and you are in your hut right now and you've got an inspirational quote on your cell phone, please let me know. Tell me I'm wrong. But I understand your issue with that phrase, but I don't take it literally when I hear it. I think that it's like a testament to your cognitive openness. The more open you become cognitively, the more you will be given, and the perception of workload will grow exponentially. But that's only because you're able to perceive more, right? Meaning, like, I have more structure in my life, so like I can take on more work, and I can not tell you off the top of my head the 14 things I have going on, but I can look at it and say, hey, I'm trying to do these 14 things. Whereas before, I was kind of like ignorant to everything going on around me. And I think there's like that shifting period, like when we have all these things going on, that yes, it probably would be a lot typically, but like we're growing and we're like entering in a new season.
What if I don't want to handle anything else?
No, we just quit everything.
Well, I enjoy just start failing at what I'm doing, and so then I
You'll get used to it really quickly.
I become cognitively closed.
I assure you, because
and then I can't take on anything else because I'm failing.
I assure you, as a perpetual fuck up for nearly a decade, that you get used to the suck really quickly. Like, you don't even realize after a while. You're like, oh, it's just how every day is. Awful. The hardest part's the fall. That's silly.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is very funny.
Yeah. So, we were thinking of wrapping this episode up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was like looking at my notes. I'm like, I guess we went through everything.
Did we?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you what you thought we were doing well, but we kind of touched base on that.
Yeah.
So we're going to call this episode, I think I told you already, how do you do everything?
Uh-huh.
And the answer is you can't.
Yeah, you just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you think it helped when we had this long list of stuff to do for our house that we're in to sell it? Do you think it helped sitting down and breaking up the task and assigning days to do it?
Yeah, and actually, Brittany, my best friend and our realtor, and she's an interior designer as well, she was over here earlier, and she said, well, you guys still have to do this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, John's going to do that. And she's like, is it written down on a list for him somewhere? I was like, yes, actually. She's like, okay. She's like, well, it get done faster if you like put it on another list. And I was like, well, it's on a list and it's going to get done.
Literally, so with the list, you're forced to be honest with yourself. It's very easy to be very ambitious and aspirational when you're just sitting there and think, I'm going to go back to a running analogy, I'm going to run a marathon. But then when you sit down and write out like your 8-week or your 12-week, 16-week plan, on that first week, you have to be honest. You're like, have I ever ran a day in my life? No. Fuck. Maybe I shouldn't write down a 10-mile run. The same thing with all the shit we're doing in our house. There's a list of 15 things. I can start my day off thinking, I'm going to get all this done today. But I'm setting myself up for failure if I do that. When we set with that list, we looked at the days of our life and we're like, okay, how long are these things going to take and when can we do them? And I mean, that's it. That's all there was to it, I think.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll report back, audience, on whether or not we get our things done on the list.
I want to promise you publicly that I'm not going to put off any of the things. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Awesome.
I promise that. And I also wanted to apologize for being lazy about push-ups and sit-ups lately.
But you're allowed if we're feeling overwhelmed. I mean, you don't need to apologize for that. Why would you apologize for that?
I just want to get back to the lovemaking where you'll grab my arm and then you look at me and you're like, yeah, you could probably protect me.
Oh my God.
It's a bad place to be here. Look, I look more
You look great.
I look a little more pork chop like than I would like to lately. And you look so amazing and I want to thank you publicly.
Sweet. Why don't I'll reassure you more.
You don't need to reassure me more. I just want to thank you publicly for putting up with me in my schlub-like phases and seeing the potential in me.
Schlub.
Maybe that's something to do with like the way you were raised or whatever, and that's why you tolerate me being a ding-dong sometimes. But I thank you for it.
Okay. You're welcome.
You look so pretty with the bow.
Seriously?
Is it a bow? Yes.
It's like a scrunchy bow. It's kind of bam-bammy.
If you're here at the end, please comment on Alexis's bow and tell her how amazing it is because I think it's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And she needs some good comments, some good love. Spread the love.
Thanks.
This has been fun. Thank you for allowing me to lead the discussion.
Thank you for leading our discussion and having notes.
No problem. I aim to please.
You did a great job.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to do like an end outro thing, but the one thing you can do to help us, it's completely free, is if you listen to our stuff, subscribe to us, hit a like button if that's a thing where you're at. But if you're not going to do any of that and you want to do one thing, share this with somebody that you think could benefit from hearing a couple talk about couple stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly what we want to do.
And share anything you might want to discuss or like you're curious about, or something that you struggle with in your relationship, or a challenge that you did struggle with that you've actually overcome.
Yeah.
Because I love hearing about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'd love to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, love to build a community of, trust me.
We're really trying to work on our communication right now. So any tips that anyone has regarding communication?
I will give the fellas one free tip, and it used to be a bit of mine, so you already know it. So don't say that you're doing this, but you have to learn how to say, "I'm sorry, you're right," in like 100 different ways.
Yeah. 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still pretty good at doing it. And like, kind of like, it's honestly like I'm being kind of like snarky and like funny and like sarcastic.
I'll be the judge of that.
But I pull it off in a lot of ways. And it's literally just me making fun of compromising. You have to be willing to compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just I can't look at you when you're mad at me and say, "You're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry." Because you'll be like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
Well, thank you, friends.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Be well. We should go meditate.
We should go meditate.
Yeah.
And
have a great month, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spring is here. Woo!
Yeah. Woo!
In the northern hemisphere.
Love you, Bunny.
Okay.
Love you, Chloe.
Okay. Chloe's our dog. And both of them are under the table. What are you guys